basically made him realize and accept that they have insufficient forces to the task and that they're going to have to increase the number of forces before they move on. And simply mobilizing 300,000 doesn't change that much. You still have legal constraints because of the nature of the SMO supporting independent republics, collective security agreements. There's a lot of law involved. Now, he's made it clear that Novaya Russia, New Russia, all of it is going home, coming home. And that means Odessa and Kharkov are going to be part of this. This conflict will not end until, at a minimum, both of those have been occupied by Russia, referendums have taken place, and they've been absorbed into Russia. Well, what I believe, again, I don't know this because I'm not privy. I believe that what Putin just did this week was unexpected. That Putin basically took us by surprise. The partial mobilization came as a shock, combined with the referendum. You see, one of the things about the Kharkov offensive and the whole Kherson offensive was designed to disrupt the notion of a referendum. And in the aftermath, Russia, it looked like Russia was confused. They were saying, well, we're going to cancel these referendum they were holding. We're going to move them off to November. Then we're canceling them indefinitely. And if you were in the White House, you're saying, this is working. This is working. What we're doing is working. We are literally throwing them off balance. But no, all we did is wake them up. And now, by holding this mobilization combined with a referendum, see, the mobilization is going to free up 200,000 combat troops who otherwise were not engaged in combat. And Russia's going to have a large, focused, offensive-oriented military that's going to bring together all the power that Russian doctrine brings. And that's that. But it's also going to be in defense of the motherland. And this is the game changer, because now Russia's no longer involved in a special military operation. Russia's involved in defending the motherland, which brings nuclear weapons very much into the equation. And
does Joe Biden know what you have just summarized?
He knows exactly what, because he knows about nuclear weapons. He knows the threat, and he knows right now that NATO and the United States are in the horns of a dilemma, because to continue to support Ukraine to the level they do puts them at risk of becoming complicit, not in the defense of Ukraine or the liberation of occupied territory, but complicit in an attack on Mother Russia. Just like Russia won't attack NATO because of Article 5, the United States and NATO will not attack Russia because of Putin's nuclear weapons. I don't believe so. Look, the Russians are very mature. Already, Ukraine has been firing into Russia. They've been attacking villages inside Russia. They've attacked Russian cities, Belgorod. They've attacked Crimea, which the Russians view as Russia. And the Russians haven't overreacted. What I believe is going to happen is that the Russians are going to take the gloves off, and they're going to cleanse Ukraine of these weapons. They're already employing these Iranian-provided kamikaze drones that are wiping out the Ukrainian artillery. They're going to come in heavy with air power, I believe, and they're going to cleanse Ukraine of this NATO artillery, NATO rockets. And at that point in time, from the Russian perspective, the slate is wiped clean. Russia won't hold the West accountable for weapons already delivered, because those weapons were delivered under a certain arrangement. But Russia will hold the West accountable for any future deliveries. And right now you have a wild debate going on inside NATO as to what to do now. The military committee of NATO, which makes the decisions, not Stoltenberg, has come out and said, we're not at war with Russia. We don't want war with Russia. And you see a lot of people starting to back off because they understand the game has changed. To continue to provide Ukraine with heavy weaponry, once the soil that this weaponry is going to be used on is classified by Russia. Remember, it doesn't matter that we don't recognize it. During the Cold War, if you looked at a map of the Soviet Union, always the Baltic republics were called Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, and we said occupied. We never recognized the Russian occupation of that, but we didn't send Marines in there either, because we knew if we did that, the Soviet Union would treat us as an attack on the Soviet Union. It'd be nuclear war. We don't recognize these referenda, but we understand the reality of it, that Russia recognizes them. Russia constitutionally is obligated to protect them as if they were Russia, and there will be consequences paid if we allow Ukraine, if we empower Ukraine to attack Russia. So this is going to be interesting for Ukraine going forward, because basically NATO has set them up to fail. We've set them up to be offensive oriented, but now if Ukraine is offensive oriented, they will be And Russia's not going to nuke them. I'm just telling you that 200,000 troops concentrated into a mailed fist are going to do a lot of damage to Ukraine that hasn't been done yet. This isn't going to be a special military operation going forward. This is going to be Russian military doctrine.